Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Dads. I'm Joey. Before we get started, I need to do the YouTube algorithm stuff. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. That helps YouTube recommend these videos to other people who may be interested in looking for an oil-free, plant-based lifestyle. When we help others, we're helping ourselves, right? And please think about becoming a Patreon or a PayPal supporter. Our financial supporters are really what help us put the show together. Without them, we couldn't do this. And they do get the videos up to 2 days early, which is really nice. So they get to see this stuff over the weekend versus waiting till Monday. So if you're thinking about that, there's a link below for PayPal and Patreon. All right, so today I'm gonna do a what I eat in a day video. I wanted to do one of these all summer. It's the last day before I have to report to work tomorrow, right? And I'm gonna start it off with a recipe from one of my new cookbooks, the Fiber Fueled Cookbook. This recipe is pretty much right out of the book the way I'm making it. I'm just gonna leave the oil out. It's the blueberry buckwheat pancakes. I'll show you a picture of it right here. I don't want to post the recipe picture because this is a copyrighted book and I don't want to get fined. But I'm going to go through the recipe here and you can just write it down or look on the website. Actually, I can't even post this on the website because it's a copyrighted recipe. So on this recipe here, you would have to write it down as we're going along. So I'll go nice and slow and I'll put the little prompts on the screen too. And I think that'll help a lot also, all right? But for this recipe for breakfast, blueberry buckwheat pancakes, and I'll probably throw some banana in there too. So that's what I'm making. So let's get started on that. And I've never made these before. I'm just opening this book and making this recipe. I'm totally in a pancake mood today. But we're gonna start with the flour. So 1 cup of oat or buckwheat flour. I'm using buckwheat flour because I love buckwheat, right? So I'm gonna put that right in here. Just got 1 cup there. The next thing it's asking for is a teaspoon of baking powder. So I've got some baking powder right here. And whenever I'm cooking, I just take out like the whole thing of my teaspoons and tablespoons, so I'm not looking for one. And now I just have it available for me. Now I need a teaspoon, here it is. I can get going. If I need a tablespoon, I got them all right there. And I got, 7 of each, so I know, don't judge. All right, so 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and I always double check and make sure I'm putting in baking powder, not baking soda, just so I don't mess this up, which has happened plenty of times before. Now this recipe does use baking soda also, and here we're putting in a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. So 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Now I can just kind of fill this thing up and a little chunky in here, just like me. All right, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda right in there. Now we need 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So I've got my salt right over here. So I'm just gonna put half of this 1/2 teaspoon for my 1/4. That's why I'm a math teacher. All right, that's done there. And then 1/8 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, which I have right here. So 1/8 teaspoon of that, so not much, just a little bit. And I'll just use my whisk to make sure I get all that combined. All right, it's looking good here. All right, so I think my dry ingredients are kind of ready to go, right? So I'm just gonna place that aside. All right, so next we're gonna make our flax meal eggy mixture to hold it all together. To do that, we're gonna take a tablespoon of flax meal. So I've just got this pre-ground up ground flaxseed meal. So I'm just using that. And we're getting a tablespoon of that. And then we're gonna pop this in my little bowl here. And we're gonna mix it with 2.5 tablespoons of water. So I just got a measuring cup of water here that should like keep by for stuff like this. So 1, 2, and about a 1/2 tablespoon right there. So I'm gonna mix this up here. I got a little fork here. And give that some time to gel together. I'll just give that a few minutes here once it's all mixed up. All right, and this will create like a flax egg. It takes the place of an egg. And this kind of gives it like a gelatiny kind of binding agent for the pancakes. The dishwasher's done. All right, so I'm gonna leave that in here and let it do its thing and give that a few minutes. All right, so next I've got a blender and I'm gonna blend the wet ingredients into a wet mix. And into the wet ingredients, I'm gonna add a cup of plant milk. Now I'm using Planet Oat, a full cup of oat milk right here. And then I'm adding in the flaxseed meal mixture that we made. So it's kind of gelatinous and you kind of see it here. It's just like a jelly, right? Just going in. So I'm adding that in and that'll be our binding agent. Next, I'm adding a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I'm just gonna dump that in right there. Next, we're adding 3/4 cup of peeled, cored, chopped up apples, right? It's about 1 large apple, 3/4 cup, depending on the size. I had baby ones, so I just did 2.5 of those or 3 of those. So I'm gonna pop that in here, or maybe all over the counter, right? Let's get that in. And the recipe does say as an option to put in 1 or 2 tablespoons of molasses. I'm not gonna put that in because I'm gonna put maple syrup on top of these, so I feel like that sweetness is gonna be there anyway. I don't feel like I need the molasses. All right, so I'm gonna put the cover on this, I'm gonna bring it over to the base of the blender, and I'm gonna puree this until nice and smooth. So let's get that done and we'll pick it up from there. All right, so that's all nice and blended. I don't want this to spray on me when I open this up. All right, that happens sometimes. That's ready to go. I don't need this anymore. Now we're gonna grab our bowl with the dry mix right here. We're not gonna need the whisk anymore. All right, so we're gonna add in the wet ingredients right to the dry ingredients, and we're gonna stir it up just till combined. We don't wanna over mix it, right? Pancakes, you never wanna over mix. You just wanna stir till they're combined. You just don't want any big lumps. You don't wanna see any lumps, all right? But you don't really need to worry too much about it getting thoroughly mixed. You just want to mix it till it's just combined. You can see right here that that's what's happening here. It's combined, it's thick. I'm not going to overdo it here. Any more than that and it's going to be too thin. The batter will be too thin and the pancakes will burn. Now that I've got my mixture combined, it's time to add the blueberries. So I'm taking a cup of frozen blueberries right from the freezer and just tossing them right in. That's it. And I'll just kind of fold them in gently. I don't want the whole thing to turn blue, so I don't want to, I don't want to break them down and get them all damaged in any way where they're going to start bleeding the blue. Okay, so my mix is done. I'm ready to get the pan started. So I'm going to turn that on and get that to like a medium heat. About 350 is where I'd like it to be. So let me do that. Now it'll take a few minutes. The induction cooktop comes up really fast. I'm gonna put a little bit of water in it so I know when it's done, but really with this, it'll be like a minute and that's it. All right, so let's let that come up to temperature and then we'll get started with the test pancake. All right, that's ready to go. You're gonna put about 1/4 cup at a time of the mixture in. And to me, that's like 2 of these big spoonfuls, I think. And I kind of just, when I'm putting it in, I kind of make my shape right there and move it around a little bit. All right, again, I've never made these before and I'm kind of a pancake expert, so let's see how these come out. If they don't come out good for me, then I don't know who they're gonna come out good for because I'm really good with pancakes. But the ends are starting to firm up, just like pancakes should, and we're starting to get the bubbles in the top, so to me, it's looking pretty good. All right, looks like it's ready. There we go, it's looking pretty good. I usually let that second side cook for about 2 minutes, and then I make sure it's done by flipping it over one more time, and these are. So that looks like a nice little blueberry pancake right there. I'm gonna put this over here on my plate right here. Can you even see that? Yeah, that's better right there. And then I'm going to go to the next one and I'll just continue along till I've used up all the batter. And here they are, right? They look amazing, right? I mean, look at that. A beautiful set of buckwheat pancakes. I can't wait, they smell so good. I can't wait to dive into them. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna plate this up here. I've got just 3 of them I think would be a good serving size for me. So I'm just gonna put these right here. And I'm gonna add on top, I realize there's already blueberries in them, but I'm gonna add on top some bananas. I love bananas on pancakes. So let me just put some of that on here. And then I'm also gonna sprinkle on a little bit of chopped walnuts. It is optional. I mean, walnuts are fat, but they have so many good benefits. I just do like a tablespoon here, and that's it. And there you go. So I've got my pancakes, I've got my toppings, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of maple syrup here. I'm just doing a really thin drizzle here. All right. Oh man, breakfast smells so good. I can't wait to dig into this. All right, I can't wait to see how these taste. Again, this is the first time I'm making these. I like buckwheat, I like pancakes, so it should be no problem, but I've never tried this recipe before. Really good, wow. I'm not surprised. It has all the things in it that I absolutely love for pancakes. It's just changing the flour out for the buckwheat flour instead of where I would normally put the wheat or the oat flour. Buckwheat has so much more of an earthy taste to it. It's absolutely delicious. All right, buckwheat pancakes for breakfast. This is the way to start off your day when it's the last day of summer vacation. All right, can't wait to see what I'm gonna have at lunch. I'll see you then. All right, it's time for lunch and I'm starving. I think what I'm gonna do today is just use some leftover potatoes. I make potatoes earlier in the week. I kind of have to use them up before like Thursday. Otherwise, after that, they've just been there too long. So I've got just some baked potatoes and I've cut them up right here. And I'm gonna cut up one more here. This is one baked potato right here cut up, and they're just like nice big, golden potatoes. So I'm gonna give that a cut, and I'll just cut it into threes. And I'll get 12 little pieces out of it. And throw that on a plate. And I think that'll be my starch, the potatoes. I'm just gonna throw them in the microwave here. I'll put a little barbecue sauce and a little bit of cheese sauce on it. And I'm gonna have that with a salad. So that's the part that's really gonna take the most work. So I'm gonna put this over here for now, and I'll throw that in the microwave in a minute. I've got a little salad bowl here and just some romaine lettuce I've chopped up. I'm gonna make my white balsamic vinaigrette dressing. And this is based on a dressing that I had many years ago before I became a whole food plant-based. It was vegan to start with, but it used olive oil. And I used to love this dressing, but it uses 6 tablespoons of olive oil in it. And that's just a lot of olive oil. So I make it a little different now. It tastes really good. I mean, it isn't exact, of course, the oil's not there. But I was trying to figure out, what does the oil do in a salad dressing? And really, the oil's there to adhere the dressing to the lettuce. So I've replaced the oil, and I'm gonna show you how I did this. All right, so first I'm gonna start off with the glass jar. First thing I'm gonna need is some white vinegar. And I'm using this Bianca Modena white balsamic vinegar. I don't know, that's just the one I got from the store, and that's what I'm using. And I'm gonna pour in 1/4 of a cup of this. Next I'm adding 1/2 teaspoon of dry marjoram leaves. Marjoram is very similar to oregano. I'm gonna pop that in there. And then next I'm gonna put in 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme leaves. After that, I'm gonna put in 1/8 of a teaspoon of fresh ground pepper. I'm just gonna estimate it. It can't be too peppery for me. And then I'm putting in 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. Next, I'm gonna put in about 1 garlic clove. This is a really big garlic clove, but I don't care if it's too garlicky. I'm gonna put this in anyway. Next, I'm gonna put in 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. And then I'm gonna put in 1.5 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. All right, so next I'm gonna add a flaxseed water mixture. For this one, I've used 2 tablespoons of flaxseed and then 5 tablespoons of water. So I'm just gonna dump that in. And then I'm just gonna give it a little mixy here and shake this up really well. And now I'm just gonna build my salad, and we'll just top it with that dressing. The dressing is a vinaigrette. It's a little bit tangy, it's a little bit garlicky. It's got just hints of all these flavors, and it really comes together really nice. So for my salad, here's what I do with salads. I've got my bowl of lettuce here, and I'm gonna put on just some fresh red onion. I just like the fresh taste of red onion in a salad. So I'm putting those on. And then I'm gonna add some dates, because I love me some dates in salads. So I've chopped up some medjool dates. This is 2 of them. I don't know that I'll be using all of them. I think just probably 1 of these medjool dates. And I've got some carrots from earlier in the week that I'm gonna put on. And I'm gonna add some microgreens on. These are micro broccoli microgreens. Those I have not washed. I've taken some of them out already and washed them, and they're right here. So I'm gonna use the washed ones right here. And for the last topping, I'm gonna put in some pepitas, just little pumpkin seeds. There we go. And now I'm just gonna add my dressing. I'm gonna give this a taste and see how it is. I know it's gonna be good because this is like one of my favorite dressings. Oh yeah, whoa. It's delicious. So the flaxseed mixture, the flax egg, I don't call it flax egg, but the flaxseed mixture kind of takes the place of the oil, and I can still have the oil and vinaigrette dressing. This is a really good option. I'll make sure to put the recipe in the link below. I have not done a video on this dressing. I guess this is the video, but I absolutely love this. It's delicious. I'm gonna heat up my potatoes here and we'll get my meal put together. All right, so for my potatoes, I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of salt on them. That should do it right there. And I'm gonna take a little bit of my cashew cheese sauce that I make for Lexx. I don't have any other cheese sauce made, so I'm gonna use this. And I'm just gonna put just a little bit on. There's not much here, right? Like, there just isn't. So I don't wanna put too much of this stuff on. It's normally very creamy, but I microwaved it too long, so now it's kind of clumping up. So, but that's the way it is. All right, you can leave off the cashew cheese if you want. That's all I've got. So that's not too bad. I'm just gonna spread this around so I can feel like I'm getting it like on every piece of potato. And I'm gonna squeeze on some barbecue sauce here. All right, so that's kind of my lunch. I've got my beautiful salad with my homemade dressing, my white balsamic vinaigrette dressing. It's absolutely delicious. And I've got just some potatoes I've reheated. I made these in the air fryer. They're whole baked potatoes, and I just poured some cashew cheese sauce, some salt, and some barbecue sauce on it. Take a bite of this. Oh yeah, so good. Guys, we have the best food. I mean, as plant-based eaters, our options are limitless, right? We're not stuck with the same 4 pieces of meat and some sides, right? We can just make whatever we want. There are so many different types of plants on the planet. Although I keep gravitating to potatoes, so I don't know. This is a great option for lunch for me. It's not too much to eat. It's gonna be filling, yet it won't be calorie heavy, and it'll really set me up for a nice healthy dinner. All right, that's lunch today. We'll see you at dinner. All right, it's time to put some dinner together. It's getting late. It is almost 7 o'clock, so this is gonna be my final meal for the day. Every time I do one of these, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna show you Nana's for dessert, the machine that makes the soft serve fruit sorbet. And I'm always like so full, and it's always so late that I just can't do it. So here's what I have here. So on this plate right here, I've just heated up some leftovers. I'm gonna make a Buddha bowl. And the way I do Buddha bowls is I just like to use them to eat a bunch of stuff that I don't really want to eat again because I'm tired of eating it all week, but I'll just throw it all together, right? And then it becomes a new meal. I don't feel like I'm having sweet potatoes one more night, right? So that's what I'm doing here. On this plate, I've got, about a half a serving of Brussels sprouts that I cooked in the air fryer early in the week. I've got, about a half a serving of sweet potatoes. It's about 2 small sweet potatoes that I cooked in the air fryer again. And then I've got about a serving of couscous left over. So I'm gonna take all that and I'm gonna put those as my hot items into the bowl here that I'm gonna use. So I'll start with the couscous because that's kind of all loose. So I just kind of toss this in the bowl here. And these will be the base, the starch, well, 2 of the starch bases for my dish right here. And then after that, I'm gonna throw in my sweet potatoes. I'll just put it right next to it. And I've got some beautiful colors here, the different yellows and oranges. So those are gonna look really good together. And then I'll just toss in my Brussels sprouts right down there too. I don't really have a lot of these left, but it's perfect for this bowl. And then after that, I've got like a small bowl of chickpeas left that didn't get eaten. So I'm gonna toss those in here too. That'll add quite a bit of protein to my meal. Perfect, there we go right there. Now I want to jazz it up a little bit, so I'm gonna add some scallions. So I've got just some pieces of scallion I'm just gonna kind of put right in the middle here. And at some point I'm gonna mix this all up, but right there. And then I got some fresh cilantro I've cut up because I've always got cilantro on hand. So I'm just gonna sprinkle this in here. Just kind of sprinkle it around to get plenty on it. Everyone likes cilantro, right? Except Lisa Tansey. I'm also gonna spray some lime juice on here. Cilantro and lime juice go really good together. I don't want too much. I'm gonna put a sauce on here, but just kind of a little tang to it. So let me just grab that in here. I've also got a little bit of hemp hearts I'm just going to sprinkle in. I mean, not even a tablespoon. I'm just going to put a little bit in. Maybe just kind of to decorate the top. My last ingredient is Tim's secret cilantro sauce that he calls it. This is his cilantro dressing recipe. There's a link to the video right up here. You can click on that. It's also on the website, plantbaseddads.net, if you look that up. So it's a knockoff from Cafe Rio. I've never eaten a Cafe Rio, but he loved it and he had to make it, and there it is. So I'm gonna drizzle that on the top, right? This is a mayonnaise-based dressing, but we use the starch solution mayo, so it's not too bad. I prefer it over like tahini or something that's just loaded with fat, right? So, but you can use tahini if you want, or liquid gold, as Miles would say. All right, so I'm just gonna drizzle this all in. He's really good at this on his channel, Miles. Healthy, Crazy, Cool. He can lay that on there and it would look professional, right? I'm just kind of globbing it on. And then I'm just gonna sprinkle some pepper on here too. And I'm gonna sprinkle just a little bit of salt. So there is so much stuff on the counter here, it's crazy. I'm gonna have to clean all this up. All right, it's looking good. And there you have it, an absolutely beautiful Buddha bowl of leftovers that I don't wanna eat by themselves because I'm tired of all of them, but that's gonna make a really nice bowl for dinner for me. All right, can't wait to give this a shot. I'm starving. Let's see what we've got here. I'm gonna mix it all up to make sure I get that sauce in and combined everywhere. It's gonna be interesting to see how it goes with everything in here. It's gonna go well with the chickpeas because there's nothing on the chickpeas. But you know, this Brussels sprouts have already been seasoned and all that, so let's just see what happens. All right, I've got a little bit of everything on here. Here goes. That sauce is so good. When Tim made that sauce, he really hit it out of the park with that one. I can see why he loves it so much. You know, I mean, I've been eating couscous all week, but I don't eat couscous a lot. And then when I have it, I love having it all week. And then I don't have it again for a while. But I forget about couscous, right? I think about rice, I think about quinoa, but I always forget about couscous. Couscous is delicious. So good. Absolutely delicious. I really feel good about all the food I had today. I feel like it kind of hit all the bases. I guess really the only way to find out is if we wind up in a Gojimon video, which hopefully that doesn't happen. That's our show for today. A full day of eating, the last day of summer vacation for me. Tonight, I'm hitting the sack early, well, around 10 o'clock. Getting up early in the morning, picking out the perfect outfit for the first day of work, and I'm headed to work. And then it all starts. I know most of you work during the summer, but I don't, so you know it's kind of a shock to have to go back to work until May. All right, hit that like button, show us some love. What's not to like? A full day of eating. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. Click on that bell and you get notified every time we have a new video, usually every Monday, hopefully through the school year too. And please leave a comment below. What are you having for a full day of eating? What kind of meals did you make today? What are you planning on making? Do you see anything here that you're like, oh, I haven't had that before? Those buckwheat pancakes, they were really good. That salad dressing, you need to make that. It's absolutely delicious. If you like vinaigrette-based dressings, like I'm not a big cream dressing person, right? If you like vinaigrette-based dressings, that one's really good. Give it a shot. You'll be surprised. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.